Hello. Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where what if Germany won the Second World War? Of course, there's going to be quite a lot of things happening differently than they did in the real timeline for this to, come out good for Germany. So yeah, we can see what that is going to entail. First, we need to start here in 1938, where we have Germany annexing Austria. So, on border, you can get rid of the border, and the capital. So they now unite, and not too long later after this, we see Germany signing the Munich Agreement with the United Kingdom, or the British Empire, and France. And this will cede over, the Sudetenland, which is an area in Czechoslovakia with a high German population. And so we see that the Germans will go ahead and annex it. This isn't the exact borders because, this looks pretty bad. And now we also see, shortly after that, in 1939, the Germans will go ahead and declare war on Czechoslovakia, and they will just pretty quickly roll through them. Czechoslovakia will surrender, and the division of them will be pretty simple. Well, actually not really simple. The Polish will get their little piece of land over here that they got. I can't remember what it's called, but they get that. And then for the rest, if I can get a good, provinces. Haha. Yep, that looks good. And so the Germans will actually, let me fix the Sudetenland border a little bit because it's not the best. So it's probably like that. What we actually see happening here is the Germans annexing this area, which obviously wouldn't look very good, and then they end up this becomes a protectorate of Germany. But just because it will look better, I'm going to be coloring it all in Germany. I think it kind of is, but so yeah, then for Slovakia, there's a lot of different things I've heard. If Slovakia was a puppet of Germany, if they were just fascist and weren't directly ruled by Germany, I honestly don't know, so we'll just be saying that they are like a ally of Germany, I guess. And of course then we have the Vienna War, where the Hungarians will be annexing this portion of Slovakia, and we'll go ahead and say that Slovakia is an independent thing. This map also didn't have all the major cities, so of course we gotta add Bratislava. So we can go ahead and do that. And yeah, the Germans have already grown considerably, but now we see the Italians do something of their own. Of course, all their colonies. Well, in this, it's 1938, so they already have invaded Ethiopia and are, well, I don't know if they really annexed Ethiopia. They're occupying them, I guess, more so. But they will go ahead and declare war on Albania. I think it's in April 1939. I don't really know how this war went. I know Italy won it, though, so it probably looks something like this. And obviously, also some things I forgot to say. This is not meant to be realistic. This probably wouldn't happen. There's a lot of things that are going to happen differently from our timeline, or I guess a few things, but so yeah, do not expect this to be realistic. Of course, we're ignoring a bunch of the alliances. I know there was like the Little Entente, was it, between like Romania, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia, and a lot of other alliances. So yeah, we're probably going to be ignoring most of them, other than, like the pact between Germany and Italy. And so yeah, it's not going to be extremely realistic. And obviously, like Albania, I don't know how that went. So there are going to be some differences from our timeline, just because I don't know them, or I want them to be different. But yeah, so the next thing happening is, of course, going to be Germany sending the ultimatum to Poland to give up the Polish corridor, which is like this. At least I think they sent an ultimatum. I'm pretty sure. But it was like to give up this land and restore their World War I borders, other than like the land they had here. And Poland declined this. And they're going to do the same here, which will lead to the German invasion of Poland, and as well as their puppet Danzig. And the Polish are not going to do too good, to be honest. I mean, just like real life. After Germany declaring war on Poland on September 1st, 1939, the Germans will go ahead and just overrun Poland. Pretty sure they encircle Warsaw, and there's like a resistance going on here. Then they just kind of go through like that or something. And at this point is when the Soviet Union is going to get involved, so let me color all them in. So it is here that the Soviet Union will get involved and begin their invasion of Poland as well. And so that will happen, and Poland is gone. And I'll color them in after, but the British and French did declare war on Germany when Germany declared war on Poland, so take note of that. And this is about how the division of Poland went. So the Germans took this land and had a puppet over here known as the General Government, and the Lithuanians took this, and the rest went over to the Soviets. Let me just fill in these borders. So yeah, this is how the division goes about. See if I do this. Yeah, give me a second. Okay. There we go. Oh, I hit switch tab and it didn't work. So, yeah, Germany also annexes this strip right here. It's like, They don't annex the whole coast of Lithuania. I know I don't need to get these borders. Yeah, that's about what it looked like. I don't need to get them perfect, but I'd like to get them pretty similar. That looks okay. So, yeah. Now we go into stages of what is called the Phony War. Oh, I forgot the color in the United Kingdom and France. And I believe this is all of it. The British and French empires. They're now at war with the Germany. And so we go into a phase of the war that was called the Phony War, because like no one was fighting each other. Like, I didn't color in, but when Germany was invading Poland, France launched a small offensive over here, and then it just kind of fell back. But Germany can't advance into France. France can't advance into Germany, and no one can take each other's land. So what happens? And it stayed this way for a while, and now a little bit into 1940, the British have made the plan to, because Germany's getting their iron supply from Sweden, they have made the plan to just go ahead and just cut it off, and stage troops in Norway, or I guess more so, I don't know if it was the plan to invade Norway, but take land. I don't know, but point being, they were going to try and cut off Sweden from Germany. And Germany found out about this, not quite sure how. And, they're going to invade, they want to invade Norway now, but of course we got Denmark is kind of like I don't know, it's a blockade from getting to Norway. So they're going to invade that too. And if I can color in all this land successfully that Norway has, and now I have to color in all the land that Denmark has, which is all of Greenland. We can see the Germans will land their forces in Copenhagen and begin to move into the city. And I'm pretty sure there's some advances elsewhere also, but eventually Denmark will surrender, and by eventually I mean in 6 hours. I don't mean to joke about that, but it's pretty unfortunate that they fell in that time, but somehow, they surrendered, but the Germans will now land their forces in Oslo, as well as over here, as the British and French will leave Norwegian ports. And these two army group things will go ahead and just wipe out some of Norway. They'll get about this point, and they'll take Norway. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know, did the Germans occupy this or turn it into puppet states? I can't remember. I'm gonna go ahead and color them in puppet states, because I think that they did do that. I'm not quite sure, but it's one or the other. But at this point, the Germans will go ahead and invade the Benelux, so the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. And of course this comes with Belgium's colony over here, as well as the Netherlands colony over here, and this island, as well as the biggest one being Indonesia. And so yeah. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. That always happens. It's one of the tools. It's, I think, what is it? Gradient. Yeah, it's sometimes when I go to press the F key for fill bucket, it just decides to press, I guess my finger just decides to press G, and then it just does this. Which honestly looks pretty cool. But yeah, so there are their colonies, and the Germans will go ahead and send some army to wipe out the Netherlands. But here they will go right through the Ardennes and go over and encircle this large amount of land, and they'll wipe out the Netherlands and Belgium, and then of course Dunkirk will happen. A lot of troops will go back to the British Isles, and from here the German forces will start to flood in slowly, and then it picks up pace as Paris is lost, and then the fall of France will begin as the Germans will reach this area, and this is when their ally, the Italians, will join the war, and all their colonies with it. I think that's it. Oh, they also have this and that. I don't know really why they gave them that, and why the British gave them that in World War One. But they will probably capture Corsica, I think, as well as start a little offensive over here. But France is falling, and at about this point, France will go ahead and surrender, and we can see. Let me just do this. And this is what we see. So the Germans will go ahead and do the same thing they did in real life. So occupying northern France, annexing Alsace-Lorraine. I don't think I pronounced that right. Alsace-Lorraine? Something like that. Then they made these guys into puppets. They have, I always want to call it Vichy France, but it's Vichy. It's like Vichi, or no, not I, Y. I don't know how to pronounce it. They gave Italy a little bit of land down here, and the rest of the French colonial areas are given to this France, whatever that name is. We also need to give them their capital, and but aside from that, we can see right here, immediately, this area will fall, French Guiana, and that's probably it for now. But now the Italians, they did start an offensive up here, and they also, I'm pretty sure, wiped out this area, Somaliland, British Somaliland. And also, I think around this time is when the Italians and the Germans will start the African campaign. So they'll go into Egypt, and then eventually get kicked out, and then the British will help the Egyptians go into Italy, and then I think they get kicked out. Well, they get kicked out, but then there's like a holdout up there, and that eventually falls or something, and then these guys advance back, and it's back and forth. But I think eventually the British will secure this land. I don't think it's too much of a big deal, though. And after this, we see, my bad, forgot about the Soviet Union. They annexed all 3 of the Baltic states. If I can color them in right. Let me see that. I like that on this map the borders are thicker, so you can actually just color them in. And of course, they had the whole winter war with Finland, where it was a lot of back and forth because they had an offensive over here, and then the Finnish slowed them down, and then they had an offensive up here, but eventually they won that war and got land from Finland, which I think they got. Finland now has their modern borders down here, so like that, maybe something like that. And then I think they also got some land over here. Yeah, that looks right. That yeah, so Finland gets most of their modern borders, but they keep this. That is for later. And at this point, the Soviet Union will stop their action and will decide to chill. Well, actually, no, not quite. They, pretty sure will go ahead and annex Bessarabia. I don't know if it's at this point or later, but it's close enough. I did that wrong. So yeah, it looks like that. I'm so glad I had provinces because I could never draw that in. So yeah, now just make sure. Yep. Okay. So yeah, this is. Oh, and of course this is their puppet state actually. But yeah, oh no, I forgot to. I guess it's not no. I just forgot to erase that border. But yes, they are now at a lot of landmass. I don't know when they annexed their puppet state, but I think it was when the Germans invaded them. So after this, we'll go into 1941, and of course, before the Italians declared war on Greece, I for some reason forgot to color in the French Syria and French Lebanon over here. But now they will be going after Greece. And, well, of course, anyone who knows World War II well knows how this is going to go, and knows how it went in real life. It's going to go the same way here. The Italians will start their offensive into Greece, and it'll go pretty far. And then the Greeks will push back and invade Italian Albania. I don't think they went that far, actually. I think it was that. That's pretty much as far. It's fine. Then we see Hungary join the Axis, then Romania. Then we wait, then jumping ahead a little bit, Bulgaria will join the Axis. And of course, we can see the partition of Romania, aside from the Soviets annexing Bessarabia. So we see the Bulgarians take this land. No, you can't see it very well, but you'll see it soon. And I'm struggling to find the border. I don't know if it's in provinces, but the Hungarians took about that. That looks bad. It was like it was northern Transylvania. It should be on here. I think I see the border like something like this, and then I just like, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's how it was. About. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same, but that looks pretty similar. And of course, then around this point too, Yugoslavia will join the Axis, and after a few days of being in, they will have a rebellion in their capital. It'll throw out the old government and, leave the Axis. And, the Axis doesn't like this, so now they're going to declare war on Yugoslavia. And, it's not going well for Yugoslavia. It actually goes really badly. They fall. The Germans will push the Greeks out of Italy, and Greece will soon fall after. Now, something to mention is it's all going nearly exactly the same as it has in our timeline, because the timelines haven't really split yet. So there will be a point where the timelines will split. First, let me just do this. Okay, so this is about what the division looked like. Pretty similar. Let me turn that off. But yeah, so Germany does occupy some parts of Greece, but Italy gets most of it. I don't think a lot's happening in Africa, to be honest. But we do see the government of Iraq actually switch, and I don't think they even invade any land, but they will declare war on the British and French, or just the British, and they will quickly overwhelm these guys, and they will fall. And I think at this point, the Germans will lose Syria and Lebanon. And at this point in real life, the Germans would invade the Soviet Union. But no, they're not. That is our first change. Well, maybe not our first change, but the biggest change so far. And, the Germans are going to keep building up by the British Isles. They're going to build up for a while. And eventually, the Japanese will do something. But they're not going to do Pearl Harbor. They will enter the war, but only against the British and, remaining French forces. They're not attacking the United States or anything. And this is, the second big change. Because, in real life, obviously they attacked the United States. The United States declared war on them. And that was not too good for Japan. But now we see them enter the war here, and of course this brings China in as well, because they were fighting Japan. And the start of this, much like real life, we see the Japanese make multiple landings over here. The only difference is that they don't capture the Philippine Islands, which are under American control. No, they do not land in Australia. I did not mean to do that. But they will go ahead and invade all these portions of Indonesia, and now are on the border of Australia, basically. And of course now they're going to force Thailand to join. And this is a little bit costly for Japan. They will lose some of their land in China. But now they will just continue to steamroll up Myanmar, and they actually do this even quicker than they did in real life. And they cut off the Myanmar people from the Chinese. I don't know what this is. But yeah, they cut them off, and will now focus on the Chinese over here as well, as the Chinese are not prepared for this and will very quickly lose a lot of land, actually their entire coast. And they will have some pretty good counteroffensives over here, but they had a big accident down here, and it is costing them quite a bit, as they're now pulling troops from other front lines to try and defend all of this. And well, the Indians, they will get here, and they will do a very big counteroffensive. The Japanese will push back, but it does push them a little farther than they were. But the Japanese are now very, very large, and this will cause for, well, it kind of seems like that the Axis might win here. And it is, well, this is where the timeline completely splits, because we actually see Ireland having a pro-German rebellion in Dublin, and it will overthrow their government. And well, before they even declare war on anybody, the British are going to come in and just make sure to, get them out of the way. And so there's multiple things. The Soviet Union and the United States are not involved in the war. That is a big help for Germany. What is not a big help for Germany is that their puppet in France's African colonies are not doing too good. And, well, Free France is formed, and, of course, we don't see Gabon join that, but it will appear over here, and all the areas that are already free to France, all the areas of French colonies that are already free, will go ahead and join this rebellion officially, and they'll now wipe out the remainder over here. But the Germans will just send a few divisions in, I guess, and just capture the Gambia, and then Sierra Leone. Just kind of get them out of the way, because, there's a big front line over here. They will then send those forces into Ghana, and yeah, not too much is happening. And the Germans are building up massively over here, like really, really big. And it is at this point that we see the war is now completely in the Axis' favor, as Germany will accept the Soviet Union's request to join the Axis. They will now join the war, and we see the British will now go over to Finland and beg, because, you know, they nearly won the Winter War against the Soviets, and, well, it's not going to work, because Germany will ask Sweden to join the Axis now, and it has now worked. And, yeah, well, Germany has one more thing they'd like to do. Well, actually, a couple more things. One, they will add Spain into the Axis, because they are very close with Spain, and Italy is very close with Spain. It also gives them some more colonies over here. Well, after this, we do see Portugal join the war against Spain, and with it, of course, comes their colonies. And, well, nearly the entirety of Africa is now involved in World War II. In fact, the only country that's not is Liberia. But with Spain's entrance into the war, their colony over here will quickly be wiped out. And, well, Guinea-Bissau will be wiped out, and Cape Verde, maybe, as well as these islands. And a naval blockade will form around Portugal. And, well, the British will break through and supply Portugal as much as possible. But the Germans got there too fast, and Portugal's now gone. And to complete their control of almost all of Europe, they will go ahead and declare war on the Finnish anyway. And this is really not good. This will enter in and steamroll through. The Soviets will as well, and Finland will be wiped off. Germany will hold off from doing any peace treaties anymore, and will focus in on the rest of the war. But this country, which I think the Soviet Union was maybe allies with it or something, or it was a puppet state, but they will go ahead and force them to join the war, as well as Mongolia. And now China is facing a force too great to deal with. The Japanese, the Soviets, and, you know, of course, the addition of, you know, the Mongolians and the people over here. But their capital, I don't think that was their capital at this point, but they will eventually, as a whole, I know there are a lot of different factions, but they will all go ahead and surrender. And with this, Myanmar will quickly be swarmed by Soviet and Japanese forces. The British and the Free French have lost all their hope, and the Soviets will go ahead and do what they did in real life, invading into Iran. This time they will reform their government, asking them to join the war, and they will send their forces in through Iraq, capturing Kuwait, and these Arabian countries. Are they Arabian? Yeah, I guess they are, but they will wipe them out, and now advancing in through Syria, and now advancing in through Egypt. The Germans will push their military back as they will begin to send forces from this buildup over here elsewhere, which is not a good sign. So they, began to advance into Egypt. The Sinai Peninsula and the Suez Canal now captured, and Egypt is about to fall. They will indeed fall, and areas will start to break away. First appearing in South Africa, which then carries out a huge movement throughout Africa, as all of these areas that we're fighting will break away and say, no more, we don't want to fight, this is not our war, we don't even really want to be part of you anymore. I don't know why that rhymed, but they'll all break away. The Italians will accept this and remove their troops from Kenya, and not only Kenya, but also Ghana, and these other countries or colonies, as long as they promise to work with them in any sort of peace treaty. It's like hey, we're gonna leave you for now, but when we do the peace treaties, we might take some land from you or annex you or something. But these countries will take it. And this is not looking so good. And the British Empire will start to completely fracture as Canada leaves the war. And Greenland will declare independence, so will Iceland. And then the Guyana countries and the Caribbean will follow. Then Australia, New Zealand, and Oceania will say they are done fighting and don't want any more of their people killed. And now with only India left with 3 fronts, they know they will quickly be overwhelmed as Iranian and Soviet troops enter into Pakistan, and they will eventually decide to give up and surrender over or accept terms of peace. And now the only thing left is the British Isles. And, soon the Germans will build up their navy, and the combined force of nearly all these countries, their militaries, their navy, they'll set out, and they will land right here from the English Channel as they make a march towards London, capturing the city and moving along the coast of the British Isles. Several other landings are made as, the British Isles are cut into 2, and the British are cut into 2, and all this land will fall over. Ireland will rise up against their occupiers and invade Northern Ireland. The Isle of Man will fall, and then these islands over here and a landing in Scotland will be made, and the British, now surrounded on all fronts, will fight out their last days until they will fall. And the Germans have officially won the Second World War. Once again, this is not realistic. Yes, we can take a look at a possible peace treaty. And the world looks a lot different than the start of this video. So we see Japan gained area over here in China. Thailand gained a bunch of land. French Indochina gained a little bit. Japan now has a puppet over here in Indonesia. The Italians annexed Somaliland. Iraq has kind of like a Middle Eastern thing. Iran didn't get anything since it was forced occupation or forced switching sides or something like that. I don't know. And the British, their empire is long gone. Now they're split into 3. Scotland, Wales, and England. Ireland took Northern Ireland. The Isle of Man is probably maybe we'll give it to Ireland. But England is now given the same harsh punishments, in my opinion, harsh, that the Allies gave to Germany after the First World War. So, they honestly, I don't think the Germans would allow them to have an army at all after just after all of the war. But yeah, so I don't think this is too realistic. Actually, I don't think it's realistic really at all. Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's really stretching it, but yeah, this is what I think could happen for Germany winning World War II. Later on, of course, we could see maybe Germany kick the Soviet Union out and then invade them, or the Soviet Union just disintegrates over time. Then most likely Japan would probably leave, kind of have their own alliance or whatever, and of course, then over time Germany would probably gain more and more control. I mean, that's one possible outcome. But yeah, so yeah, we can see that is what might happen. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.